Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Gripsport Latino. Today, we have a very special guest, Ben Helms. Let me admit him.
There we go.
I can see you perfectly. Welcome, Ben. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm really good. Really relaxed Sunday morning. It's really interesting to hear the other person's voice for the first time. Yesterday,
Yeah.
as I was talking to Tim Livingston, and it was the first time I heard his voice as well. Good to
Okay.
see you. Man. I see you have the hoodie of your gym, Peak
Yes, I
Park.
do. Yeah, Peak Street.
Excellent. Well, how are you today, Ben?
I'm doing all right. We got a little bit of a storm going on right now, so I'm hoping that doesn't mess up signal or anything, but it's a good day to be inside, that's for sure.
Excellent. I just saw that you received a new glove. It's a really beautiful one.
Yes. Yeah, the blue blob. I've been wanting that one for a few months now and convinced myself that I had one. My very first blob I got was a Fat Man. It was a Yorkshire, and it always had like a dark tint to it. So I thought, maybe, they didn't strip it or something like that. I don't know. But once, it was probably a couple weeks ago, the lighting was weird in the gym. It was real cloudy outside, so I didn't have a lot of light coming in. And I swore I saw a blue tint. Like there's a weird blue tint on it. And I was like, wait a minute here. Could this be a blue blob? So I spent probably a half hour looking closely at this thing because I was just so obsessed. I was like invested into it. I ended up reaching out to Jed Johnson, trying to get his opinion. Couple other people in our grip chat that we have spoke to Zach Mullins. Zach wasn't sure. But once Jed told me, nah, that looks more black than anything, he was just brutally honest with me too, and I really appreciated it. And I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. So I waited till the next day. I went outside when it was sunny and not even close to that blue tint. So I told myself, well, I'm gonna find one. And I started digging really deep and ended up opening up my old Reddit account and started a conversation about broken or bent blue York dumbbells. And I thought, maybe someone out there has something. And then some guy reached out to me. He never sent pictures or anything. It was super close. He just told me what he had. I went over there and that was it. Like it was the blue blob. So the edges of the blob compared to the first gen Fat Man, they're a little more smooth. So it's like if you have your number side Fat Man and then your letter side Fat Man, the letter side usually has like a sharper edge to it. And then the number side has a rounder edge to it. If I put them side by side, you can really tell. But when I saw this blue one, it was letter side and it was smooth on both sides. And the weight of it at the time, he told me it was probably like 52 or something like that. And I was like, okay, I'll take your word for it. And I got it for $70.
Wow.
Super cheap.
Super cheap, yes.
Yeah. And took it home and weighed it, and it was 50.8 pounds. And that like solidified everything for me. I was like, this is 100% it. And I was really excited about it. Zach was freaking out. He was like, holy crap, how'd you pull that off? So I was really happy about that. It's definitely my favorite blob and the rarest blob I have for sure. So never getting rid of that.
Excellent. It happens to me the same thing with my Warren Tetting Supermaster. I'm never going to get rid of that. Like I had like a deal with, I don't know if you know Alan Hynek. He sold that to me for $40. 40.
Wow.
And these days, the Warren Tettings are like $200. I don't know, really expensive.
Ted, Canon PowerWorks had 2 used ones on his website the other day.
Yes, yes, I saw them, and it was like sold out, and it was like, oh,
$80.
yeah,
They were $80. I was like, how did I miss this? But I thought, I had my luck with the blue blob. It's okay. So, but yeah,
yeah,
I spent a pretty penny on the Teddings I found on eBay, but they're worth it. I still got a
yeah.
good deal. I paid I think after tax and shipping was around $300 for 3 Tedding rippers. So I got a pretty good deal on
Yeah,
those.
that's a good
Yeah.
one. Well, Ben, let's go like with the regular questions for the
Yes.
audience. For people who still don't know about you, I was surprised because a lot of people, for example, here in Chile, they still don't know about you. And so, who is Ben Helms? Tell me, from the man himself.
Just an average guy, man. Just enjoy training and I don't know. What kind of stuff do you want me to share?
Well,
Like,
what do you do? What's your occupation? What do you do for a living, for instance?
okay, so I am a substance abuse counselor. So I help people with addictions and get them to live their healthier lifestyle and change their lives for the better. So yeah.
Perfect. That question leads me to I mean the idea is to know if you have a career like sports related or if grip sport is something that you do in your free time.
Yeah, that's something I do in my free time, but I do plan on using fitness with my career now as a substance abuse counselor. I feel like having uh, physical fitness as a way of, I guess, introducing them into rehabilitation from their substance abuse as well, I think would be excellent to introduce into that program. So eventually, I'm going to save up and open up my own gym, private practice deal, and start helping people fight their addictions through physical fitness because it's a great coping mechanism and it's only going to benefit you even more physically, mentally, spiritually, the whole shebang. So yeah, that's the plan.
Exactly. And I want to know more about your sports career, like from the very beginning. When did you started practicing any sport?
So I had my teacher in high school when I was a freshman. He was our wrestling coach. I never competed in wrestling, but I always trained with the wrestlers there, had a good time. And he got me into the gym and was like, Ben, you have a big frame. You need to start weightlifting, getting into that. My dad tried getting me into weightlifting when I was a kid, and I had no interest in it whatsoever. Um, and my wrestling coach really got me into that. He introduced me to bench press, and that's where everything took off. I fell in love with bench. Most high school guys would only train bench, right? So
Yeah.
that was something I focused on a lot. And by the end of my freshman year, I went from 135-pound max to a 500-pound max.
500.
So, yeah, I
Wow.
obsessed with that. Yeah, so when I benched 500 pounds, I was only like 170, 180 pounds. So it was pretty cool. So I stuck with that,
Wow.
and yeah.
Wow. That's huge, man. Really
Yeah,
huge.
thank you.
So, considering that, did you also do squat and deadlift in your freshman year?
No, not necessarily. I still exercised and weight trained for that, but strength training, I was only really concerned about bench press. I was so obsessed with bench press. But as I got older, I ended up trying to balance everything out. Ended up majoring in college with kinesiology, studying how the body works, analyzing angles, different movements, and all that. And I introduced that into my training. So my bachelor's degree had a lot to do with my progress in the gym. So eventually I got into power building. Do you know who Stan Efferding is?
Of course, I know him online, YouTube videos and all
Right
stuff.
now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So um, once I heard about him and his introduction to power building, mixing powerlifting and bodybuilding, I got hooked on that. So I started getting really in depth with power building. And I think it was maybe a year after I graduated from college. That was when I put on a lot of weight. I was like 300 pounds. I was deadlifting over 800 pounds, squatting close to the high sevens, and then that's when my max bench was 595. And at the time, I didn't like using a barbell. I liked using axles. So all my pressing was on an axle, and I think a lot of that had to do with my wrist strength transitioning to grip when I discovered grip.
Wow,
So yeah.
that's excellent. So you were into power building, and how did you transition from your power building days to grip sport? How did you discover this lovely world?
Yeah, so power building ended up transitioning to strongman. I did that
Okay.
for a short period of time, and it got to the point where I was just so heavy, I didn't feel good. So I went on this weight loss journey. So I ended up not necessarily disowning strongman, but I really distanced myself from strongman and focused more on bodybuilding and physique. So I ended up losing over 100 pounds in maybe 6 or 7 months. Like, it was very drastic. I took my diet super serious. I got real lean, real cut, and I started selling my strongman stuff on Facebook. And that's when I met Dylan Hallmat, and I was selling a circus dumbbell to him. And he was like, "You need to get into grip. You need to do some type of competition. I think grip would be a good introduction for you," because I was never competitive, didn't really care for it. I just liked to train. And he really warmed me up to the idea, said, "Look, you're just grabbing something, picking it up. If it doesn't work out, the risk of injury is so low with this." I was like, "Okay, well, I like the sound of that." So I ended up following through, and my first grip competition was with Armlifting USA. It was a super series. And that's where I also met Zach Mullins. And he introduced me to blobs and inch bells. And that's where it really took off.
So you entered to the grip world thanks to Zach. Which year was that?
Last year, it was in 2022. It was June 10th of 2022 was when I started doing grip.
And which disciplines were in that super serious tournament?
What was that?
Which disciplines were in that super serious tournament? Were like any thick bar, any pinch? Which events?
Oh, I can't remember the exact events we had in stage one. We had, I think it was the 2-inch Raptor handle, and then the Grip Genie hilt. And I
Okay.
think the third event was the blue fat grips deadlift. And that's what I did. And hilt, I loved hilt. The vertical bar, that
Yes.
was really fun. It felt really comfortable, especially on my wrists. I think that's what really kept me involved in it. But the blue fat grips and the Raptor handle, I was not a fan because the plastic handle super slick. The more chalk you put on, I feel like the worse it got. It just felt more slick, and I was like, if you're trying to test your grip strength, I feel like the implement shouldn't be slick. It should just be metal contact with your skin. Get your, because friction's real important for grip. I feel like that's a part of the whole thing, and if you take that aspect out of it, I don't know. It kind of, it's not as fun for me. But the reason why I didn't like the blue Fat Grips deadlift was the rubber on the Fat Grip can warp a little bit and it can slip out of your hand. And when you're squeezing that hard and it slips out, you get this like ricochet effect on your fingers, and it does not feel good. So when I was training for blue Fat Grips, I always got a little anxious when the weight was starting to get really up there, and I felt like I couldn't get a good read on what my one rep max could truly be on those Fat Grips because I was so nervous about that slipping out of my hand because it didn't feel good. But when we did stage 2, that was when we did Saxon bar, the 3-inch Saxon. And that was extremely fun. I love the Saxon bar. I'm trying to collect different types of Saxons now because of the Super Series Stage 2. So, yeah, I'm glad I got into that. And Armlifting USA was a great start. Chad Clark and Ricardo Magni are really nice guys, real welcoming, and they really helped me understand what was going on because I was clueless to the competition. I had no idea what was going on. I didn't know what Rising Bar was. I didn't know like the whole format. I was so new to it. So I was trying to absorb everything I could. They really made it enjoyable and easy to understand. So that was a really good experience.
Excellent. And these days, which is your best rolling handle lift? For example, in the crusher or in any other rolling handle, which is your best?
So right now, I've really been training hard on the 2.25 crusher. It's not anywhere close, I think, to like the top 10 right now, but I think my best was like 220, I think, on the 2.2 crusher. And I think, you know, the elite guys with the crushers are getting like 240 or something like that, some crazy number. So I'm not there yet, but I'm pretty happy with my progress on the crusher. But I did do some weird, it doesn't transition well at all because I pulled, I think, 210 on the rolling grip thing by Grip Genie.
Yes.
And it spins a lot faster than the crusher. It's bigger diameter, but I thought, you know, if I could pull that, how come I can't pull a really large number on the 2.25 crusher? So I'm not sure what that is. I'm still trying to figure it out, but I think those two are my best rolling handle lifts that I've been really working on.
Perfect. And pinch, which is your heaviest pinch? One-handed.
One-handed?
One-handed, yes.
Okay. I'm not really sure what my best one-hand pinch would be. The only thing I could relate to is blobs. So I've been able to clean Blobzilla. So I think that would be my best one-hand pinch that I've done.
Blobzilla is health 130? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Half a 130 Legacy York dumbbell, yeah.
I didn't know that Blobzilla was a Legacy. Interesting.
Yep.
Nice. And grippers, which is your best deep set gripper close?
I haven't done a deep set. I've done the parallel set. I think my best was a 182 Captains are Crush 3.5. That's definitely my best one I've done. Yeah.
And are you thinking about Mash Monster? I think you have some levels done with that close.
Yeah, I just recently signed up with the Grip Board for that purpose. So yeah, I'm very interested in doing the Mash Monster sets for sure. I've reached out to Iron Mind because I want to certify on a 3, and they just came out with that new Crush to Dust Plus. You heard about that?
Yes, I was like, actually, I have a funny anecdote about it because there's a guy from Canada. His user on Gripboard is like Bigfoot Grip, and he wants to do a trade of Iron Mind stuff, and he wants a Vulcan 2 from David Horn. Do you know that gripper?
What was it?
Vulcan number 2 It's an adjustable. It has a spring that
No?
goes up and down. Give me
Yeah,
a
no,
second. Give me 1 second.
sure, yeah. Okay, yeah, I've seen those. Yeah, those are cool.
Well, he wanted this gripper, and he had like a Rolling Thunder, an Iron Man loading pin, many Iron Man stuff. And I was about to do the trade, and then the very next day, Iron Man says CTD plus. So now you have to lift 115 kilograms, 35 on the hub, and it was like, yeah, maybe I'm not that close.
Yeah,
so
I think
I didn't make it. I didn't make it.
yeah, though that Crush to Dust Plus coming out is the reason why I've been needing to certify on the 3, because you can't do the Crush to Dust Plus until you have certified on a 3. That's one of the things you must be able to do. So I got to do that first before I'm interested in that, because the hub, I have no problem with that. 77 pounds would be no problem for me. Closing a 3 would be no problem. But the rolling handle, the 254 pounds on a Rolling Thunder is a super impressive weight. Yeah, very big. So I'm not sure if I'd be able to do that. So I need to start training my rolling handles a little bit more for that.
Have you tried the Rolling Thunder?
Yeah, I actually have a Rolling Thunder. I'm not a fan of it at all. It warps the heavier the weight gets, which will help you, but at the same time, the quality of it's just not there. But if that's the handle I have to use for the Crush Dust Plus, then so be it. I think that would be an amazing feat to accomplish, to get Crush Dust Plus certified. So
after the interview, I will ask you your user on Gripsport so I can follow you. I didn't have an idea that you were there.
Yeah. Actually, I just now last night I submitted my Fat Man Blob Cycle for feet judging. So hopefully that's going to be up there in a day or two. But yeah, are you familiar with the Blob Cycle?
I don't know how does it work, because it was like how can I say it? We had blobs here in Chile very recently. Like this week, I received my half 100, and actually yesterday I was talking with Alex and Tim to receive the first 110 legacy. So we are moving forward with blobs. So no, how? What's the blob cycle? Tell me, please.
So the blob cycle is you have to use the same hand the entire time. So you do a regular deadlift with your blob, put it down, pick it up again, and you have to clean it, put it down, snatch it, put it down, and then you have to be able to curl it to complete the whole cycle. It's brutal, but I was able to do it with a Fat Man. This was a while back. I'm just now submitting that video, but I think now I could do it no problem every time. But the Fat Man just fits my hand right. But I think if it gets approved on the grip board, I'll be the first person to complete the blob cycle with a Fat Man. So that'd be pretty cool.
Oh, I hope you make it, man. Sounds really amazing.
Thank you.
I didn't ask you, but how tall are you?
6'2", 6'3", something like that. Yeah.
And which is your current body weight?
I'd say I'm about like between 225 and 230. Perfect. That's usually the weight. Okay.
Perfect. Let me see. Well, apart from Zach, which were the first athletes that you met online from Gripsport?
Actually, the first grip athlete I ever knew of before I even knew what grip was Jed Johnson. I saw a lot of his stuff when he was doing strongman. And that's something I could relate to with him. So I followed him on his YouTube page and sent him a friend request on Instagram maybe a year or so before I even got into grip. So Jed was the first person that I got into getting to know, and then when I finally got to meet him at nationals, it was great. He's a really good guy, real nice, real respectful, and I love how serious he takes the sport. So I try to surround myself with people like that. So
That's perfect. And yes, I like how serious and how he wants to make this sport serious. Just like Zach said on the Grip Show, this sport needs more recognition, and it happens
yeah,
to me all the time with the grippers. Grippers need more recognition because people can see them as, oh, this tiny thing, but they are hard to close. So
yeah, and I've been guilty of this too. I remember seeing people closing grippers
yeah.
before I thought grippers were. I didn't even know grippers were contested. I thought you just grab it and you squeeze it. But when I saw them setting it, I didn't know that was setting a gripper. I thought they were cheating. They were trying to squeeze it closed more so they could get the close in. So that was pretty fun to reflect on once I realized, oh my gosh, I can't believe, how ignorant I was to all this stuff. And now that I know what a set is and grip, there are different types of grippers for competition. It was really cool, especially since nationals was my first ever gripper in a competition. So that was really fun.
And how did it go with grippers in the? I think it was 20 millimeter block set, right?
It was, yeah. I had a problem with when I was getting ready to set the gripper, my forearm kept touching my leg. So I'd bend over and try and like brace my arm on there, and Jed's like, "You can't do that. You can't do that." I'm like, oh. So it wastes my energy, and I'd restart and try and do it. I worked my way up to the 170 and couldn't get it. So I ended up going to the 165 and closed it extremely easy. So it was a little bit of a disappointment knowing that was wasting that energy, and I know I could have gotten that 170. So next time I'm going to smash it. So
Perfect. Yeah. And speaking about your workout, do you plan your workout yourself?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I try to mix in some type of weight training to start. Like Monday, I'll do back and buys. Tuesday, shoulders, chest, and tris. And I'll repeat that cycle. And then I'll mix in thick bar on my back and biceps day, because if I'm doing axle, I can take some of the weight off and do rows with it, do bicep curls with it. And then when I'm doing like shoulders and chest and triceps, most of the time it's going to be pinch day. So I'll mix it up like that. But for grippers, I used to do grippers 3 times a week, but it got to a point to where my grippers started getting weaker and weaker, and I wasn't understanding why. And I was just overtraining. And the really small muscles in your hands can be easily overtrained and not even know it. Like you don't get the soreness like you would doing a heavy bench day. Your pecs are real sore. You did a squat day and your thighs are so tight it hurts to walk. It's different like that for me in my hands. So now I do it once a week. I do it every Friday, and it's helping me improve. But at the same time, I like grippers so much. I wish I could do them more during the week, but it just wouldn't be beneficial for me. So that's okay.
Perfect. And speaking about feats of strength, let's go into the important stuff. The
Okay.
inch dumbbell. How did you knew first time about the inch dumbbell, and what did it like call your attention about this feat?
So I've always liked strongman history, and there's always grip involved with any strongman history. And I knew of the inch dumbbell, and I didn't know they made replicas. I thought it was just one dumbbell, like the one Mark Henry clean and press. I
Yes.
thought was the real inch dumbbell, but turns out it was a replica. And that's when Zach messaged me on Instagram and said, "Hey, I plan on, bringing this inch dumbbell. Would you like to try it out?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you have an inch dumbbell? How did you get that?" And he explained it to me, and I ended up getting my own a couple months later. But the first time I ever touched an inch dumbbell, I was able to lift it, and it was shocking. I was like, "Wow, maybe I could clean this thing. Like, that'll be cool. I want to be able to do that." But this was at the end of the Super Series. So my hands were fried. I tried lifting it again and getting it on film, and it wouldn't budge. So I was like,
Whoa.
dang, that thanks. Yeah. So I've been, ever since then, I was hooked on, I want to be able to clean this. And then the more I got into depth of trying to learn the postures for cleaning the inch dumbbell, studying other people like Jed Johnson, how he would introduce like the swing portion, which is extremely important for lighter people. You see these guys like Mark Henry, they just yank the thing up because they're over 300 pounds, massive men. And then when you got people like myself and Jed's not a small guy. Jed's a big dude. He's 250 pounds right now, but compared to Mark Henry, he's a smaller guy. So he had to introduce form, and that's where I just got obsessed. I'm like, okay, I need to study this. I want to analyze it. I need to make it fit for my comfort. I ended up doing that, and it was pretty cool to clean the inch. I didn't know that there was a thing about being the lightest man to clean the inch. So when I found out that that was a thing, I was like, maybe I should lose a couple pounds and try to be the lightest guy to do it. And it happened. So I was pretty happy about that.
Perfect. And which was your body weight when you accomplished that feat?
I was 227, 228 when I did it. So it was, impressive. I think Jed was around 230, 235 when he cleaned it at his lightest weight. So I had to get under there just a little bit, but Jed's still the lightest guy to clean it in both hands. So he still got me on that. I can barely tilt lift with my left hand. So I got a long way to go to do that.
Perfect. And which is the place in the US where you can buy the inch dumbbells? Where did you buy yours?
So I contacted Steve Slater. He works with the foundry to make his dumbbells. And I reached out to Steve Slater on Instagram, and we talked. He's a really nice guy. We talked on the phone for a while, talking about Jed and how I told him how I wanted to be able to be the lightest man to clean it. And he's like, wow, that would be awesome. But I could tell that he was like, that's going to take a long time. Good luck with that. But he was real supportive. And when he found out that I did clean it, he was amazed. He was really kind about it too, wanted to talk about it. And it was pretty neat experience having someone, like Steve Slater, he's involved with road fitness, makes all this really nice equipment. And having people like that talk to you and motivate you even more, it just makes it that much more enjoyable. That's why I like Grip so much. Everybody cares. They want everybody to improve. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice community. I like it. I like that as well from Gripsport. And
yeah.
Ben, considering that, okay, you lifted the inch the first time. How much time passed between your first lift and your first clean? How long did it take you to clean the inch?
It took around 7 or 8 months to do that. So I have a really like dumbed down breakdown of how I broke down the inch clean into sections. It's on my highlights on my Instagram profile if people ever want to check that out. But I plan on making an ebook. I want to have an in-depth ebook with pictures, videos, in-depth descriptions, accessory workouts to train for the inch clean, like the whole shebang. And I don't plan on selling this, of course. I'm just going to leave it out there for free. People want to train for the inch clean. Take it. I want you to improve. You know,
I had my credit card ready in my pocket to buy it. Like
it is free. It's yours.
Perfect. It's a really. I know it will be a really helpful material. Really nice.
Yeah, it helped me out, so I don't see why it wouldn't help someone else. So,
but all of this information was like your research from the best out there, or did you figure it out yourself, like how to clean it?
So I studied Jed Johnson's initial swing. So his swing wasn't as aggressive as mine. Jed had a stronger back than I did. He was able to drag it a couple inches, get a good tilt on it, and launch it. For me, I had to be about a foot away from the bell, drag it to lock my hand in place. And once I tilted the bell, I had to have the bell completely vertical, up and down, before I was able to launch the bell. So I studied his form and then adapted it to my strong suits, because what worked for Jed was not going to work for me. And what worked for Mark Henry was definitely not going to work for me, because that is extreme strength. So, yeah.
Perfect. Ben, we have like 3 minutes left from the first part of the meeting. So what if we do like a pause, wait for the 10 minutes rest from Zoom, and then we keep with the questions because I have a lot more.
Great. Yeah, sure. That sounds fun.
Welcome back. How are you, Ben?
Doing all right.
Perfect. We were speaking about the inch dumbbell. So, which will be your advice to someone that wants to clean the inch dumbbell without considering your upcoming ebook?
Let's see. So is this like, so for someone that has never lifted an inch dumbbell that wants to...
Let's consider someone that owns an inch dumbbell, that already has one and can at least do a tilted lift from the ground.
Okay, so I would highly recommend, I've even posted about this too, getting plate mates. So they're little magnets, they're weighted magnets that you can put. They were meant for attaching to dumbbells for, you know, accessories and stuff, so you don't have to buy all the increments in weight. But if you put the magnets on the finger side, so when you're grabbing the inch dumbbell, you want them on the globes where your fingers are facing. It's not thumb side. It'll decrease that rotation. So you can put the magnets on the back globe and you can practice your tilt training. It also adds more weight to the back, so you can get the pinky and ring fingers stronger. That's super important. And of course, dragging the bell to you, locking in that pressure is really important as well. Well, for me it was, but plate mates, definitely. If you have an inch dumbbell, you're training for the tilt, buy some plate mates. You can work on decreasing your rotation, or if you want to be more challenging, put them on thumb side, increase your rotation. That'll make your tilt stronger as well. So that would be something I'd recommend.
Yes. So when you already have like a level lift, what's the next step to go for the clean?
For a level lift?
Yeah, well, I mean, what do you need to achieve the clean, like in general? Yes.
Oh, also strength training. It's a massive body dominant lift. A lot of friction based, a lot of form based, but you have to have a really strong back to be able to clean a dumbbell, because once you're able to tilt your bell and you have it vertical to the ground, that's when you launch with the hips. When the bell starts to get towards your belly button, you have to row it. So you're just pulling that thing as hard as you can. So you really need a strong back every single time. Even when it's gotten easier the more I've done it. Every single time I clean that bell, my mid back gets super tight because it's so dynamic. So yeah, get your back strength up. It's going to be super important.
Perfect. And Ben, which is the heaviest inch dumbbell you have lifted? Have you got for the 104 kilogram from Nathan?
I actually purchased one from Nathan, and it should be shipping here very soon. I'm looking forward to training with that. Hopefully, I can at least get a sloppy tilt lift with it, but I don't think I'm going to be lifting it soon. But my heaviest bell that I've lifted was also a bell from Nathan Hall. Zach Mullins owns it. It is his 191-pound inch bell, and I've almost cleaned it, but eventually I'll get to that. But yeah.
Perfect. And in your personal collection, I know that you collect a lot of grip stuff. So which are the inch dumbbells that you own these days?
Right now, I only have 3. 2 of them are actual inch dumbbells. One is my first one I got from Steve Slater. It is 178 pounds. And then I have a sort of vintage inch dumbbell made from Jason Adamski. I got lucky and found that on eBay. I got it for like $400, and that was probably one of my best deals I've had on eBay. But those are the only 2 inch bells I have. And then I have a small 30 kg baby inch bell from Nathan Hall. And I use that all the time. That is so fun to do curls with and shoulder presses to warm up. And yeah, that's a great little bell.
And what about blobs? I wanted to ask you about your blob collection. I know you must have many blobs, but which are the main types of blobs that you own?
So I have the Legacy series blobs. I have 120 and 5-pound increments all the way to 140. I have a pair of next gen blobs, a pair of Fat Man blobs and the blue blob. I have 2 red pills, but one of them I stripped and painted blue because I'm a Matrix fan. So I wanted to do the red pill, blue pill type thing.
Excellent.
So that was real fun. Yeah.
I am a Matrix fan as well, so I understood the reference. Perfect.
Awesome. And I recently found a Blob 50. I was hunting for that. That was one of my favorite finds. Even though the blue blob the other day is the rarest find I've had, my favorite find by far is definitely that Blob 50, because I know a bunch of people with them, and I've been sending them offers. Hey, would you part ways with it for this amount of money and all that stuff? But they're sticking to their guns. They're keeping it, and I don't blame them. It's an awesome blob. So I'm glad I had that one. But yeah, that's pretty much the collection.
Which is the origin of the red pill? What's the story behind it? Do you know it?
I do not know the story of the red pill. I know that Paul Jeanette is the creator. Really nice guy. I think he was trying to make a clone of the Fat Man, but it turned out being way wider. The edges are super sharp. The slopes aren't as aggressive, but mine weigh 56 pounds. They're pretty heavy. Usually a Fat Man is between 52 and 54. So it's a massive block weight. And the paint on the red pill is extremely challenging. If you're lucky enough to get some type of chalk to stick to it, take advantage of it, because that stuff comes off easily. It's a very slick blob.
And which is your, let's say, your blob PR, the heaviest you have lifted?
I haven't done a complete lift, but I have lifted the half 140 Legacy probably about 10 inches off the ground. And ever since then, haven't been able to budget, not even break ground with it. I don't know what happened, but I need to get back into that and start training for it. But that's probably the best lift I've had on a blob. But the heaviest complete lift I've done was the blob made by Nathan Hall, the Hall 30 kg. And it's a super challenging blob because it's not shaped like a blob. It's oval shaped. And because it's long, getting any wrist into a blob, which is really important on lifting a blob, you have to have a good lock in your wrist. Because it's so long and stretched out, it won't let my wrist curl. It tries to straighten it out. So it's kind of like a block weight / pinch block, because the weight on the pinch block pulls it straight down. So you can't curve it like a Saxon bar. So that is a super hard blob, but I was able to lift that several times and even do a clean with it. So Nathan sent me a medal for it too, which was pretty cool. I got that hanging up in the gym, so that was pretty awesome. And Joe Hodgson also lifted that. We're the only two to be able to lift that blob right now. So it's a very challenging feat. And Joe was the first person to ever lift it too. So he beat me to it. We were racing. So yeah, he did an amazing job. Really strong pinch.
Yeah. And speaking about pinch, have you completed like classic feats of pinch, like 220s or 225 powerlifting plates? Which are your like the feats that you have completed in one hand pinch?
I have pinched 2 deep dish plates together. I had 2 Everlast deep dish plates. It's almost a 4-inch pinch. They're really wide plates, but they're perfectly shaped. So they stick together great. They don't have any different shapes to them to make the pinch more challenging, like the York deep dish. I'd like to be able to pinch some New York deep dish plates eventually, but they're just so expensive and hard to find. So yeah, deep dish pinching is definitely something I enjoy when it doesn't cut me. But yeah, I'm not too good at narrow pinch. So if you were to give me a pair of deep dishes versus a pair of regular 45-pound plates, there's a 99% chance those deep dishes will be easier for me than regular 45s, because that narrow pinch has just always been challenging.
I understand. Well, it's the same for me. Narrow pinch is a little harder, but it depends. Sometimes I specialize in some type of pinch and get good at it, and then I leave alone like the other width. So you never know. It depends on the competition.
Yeah, like the flask. You have a flask, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a brutal narrow pinch to train for. So it's one of my least favorite implements, but I train on it because it's a weakness. So it's a good narrow pinch trainer for sure.
Of course. Ben, I want to ask you about your grip goals for the second semester of this year. What would you like to accomplish before 2023 ends?
Before 2023 ends, I want to be able to clean and press, complete the whole clean and press for the inch dumbbell, and I want to be able to transfer Blobzilla. That's something I've really been focused on. So I'm regularly lifting Blobzilla now. That slope is just so big that getting a transfer on it is more luck than anything. So I'm still training for it. Hopefully it'll happen. So those are my 2 big ones that I really want to get done before the year's over.
Perfect. And how's the preparation for heavy hands? How is it going?
There's a lot going on with this. We have tons of sponsors. You're one of them. We're really grateful for it. A lot of people have seemed interested. We had, the implements. We got 2 new implements: the Andrews axle, the 2/3/8 axle, and then the 2-inch one-hand nightmare. So regardless, of who you are showing up to compete, there's a really good chance you're going to be on a leaderboard list. You're lifting on a new implement. So that'll be someone else's challenge in the future. Your name's going to be on a list. It's going to be real interesting, real fun. We're going to be at Iron Will Gym. The owner, super cool, really understanding, really wants to help out as much as he can. He let Michael Dalton host his spring squeeze there, and it went well. So we're really looking forward to Heavy Hands just around the corner. People can still show up. They don't have to sign up online. They can show up with $20 and they're in. Trying to make it as easy as possible and let everyone have a good time. So yeah, everything's going together well. We got the championship belt for the overall winner. We have
Awesome.
First, second, third place trophies that I will be posting about real soon. They're super cool, pretty unique. But for every weight class, there's going to be a first, second, third place trophy for. And we have other prizes, gift cards, cash prizes, some grip implements, other extra stuff too that are going to be hand out for the winners of weight classes and overall winner and all that stuff. So it's going to be cool. Everyone's going to be treated well, taken care of, earn their prize, and it's going to be a great time.
I don't remember if you mentioned it, but is there going to be like a medley or challenges in the tournament?
So because the number of participants keeps increasing, it's not likely we're going to have a medley. We're concerned about time at this point, which, it's unfortunate, but at the same time, a blessing. I mean, we got so many people that want to come, take up the time. That's fantastic. So I'm really excited about that. We still will probably end up bringing a couple blobs, maybe an inch dumbbell for people to, get their hands on because they're hard to come across. They're expensive. So if people want to touch an inch dumbbell for the first time or touch a blob for the first time, Heavy Hands is probably going to be the place for it. So yeah, we'll still do something like that.
Perfect. It sounds like I just want to go there. I would love to go there to. If you repeat it some like the following years, I will make sure to go. I would love to.
We plan on making this an annual thing. So there will be a Heavy Hands 2024. We're still discussing, because, it's early. We're still discussing whether or not we want to change all the implements for the next year or keep some. I feel like, for me personally, I love the Andrews X. So I feel like that'll be like the implement for Heavy Hands. We might keep that one in it. But I feel like it's a good equalizer. You have those guys that participate in strongman that naturally have a good grip on a 2-inch thick bar. So instead of doing the Iron Mine axle or the Rogue axle or whatever, we chose to do the 2 3/8 axle because it's a true test of grip strength there. I feel like having those big, strong guys trying to pull on that axle will be very humbling for them. And it's a good thing. That's really good. Being humble always wants to motivate you to improve. So that's the way I am. So I'm hoping other people will appreciate it the same way.
Perfect. Ben, I want to ask you, this is like a question about your lifetime. It doesn't necessarily need to be related to Gripsport, but which is the lift that makes you proudest about yourself, like your favorite lift ever?
My favorite lift ever. I'd probably say was when I was able to bench 500 pounds for the first time. That's always going to be my favorite, regardless of, if I get the inch clean and press in the future, that's going to be huge and great. But personally, first time benching 500 is always going to have that sweet spot.
Do you have the video of that lift?
No, there was no video. So I didn't have a smartphone at the time or anything like that either. I had one of those old flip phones, so there was no video.
So it's just in your heart, in your memory, on if you have any like training partner, I guess they saw
Yeah,
it.
and that's it. So technically, it didn't happen. It wasn't on video, but it's all right. I
No,
have
but you know it, you know it. And I
yeah.
think
Plus,
I think I saw you benching like big weight on your stories recently.
yeah. So when I was peaking in my powerlifting strength, I had a smartphone. So I was recording all that stuff. I was having a good time with that. Yeah, I recently posted one on my story where I benched 505 pounds for 7 reps. That was one. That was a big one.
Perfect. I have a couple of questions from the audience, Ben. There's a friend, I don't remember. He's from Europe, but I don't remember the country. His Instagram is S. Michael Sass. His name is Lucas. And he wants to know, in your opinion, what's better? Full rest day or active recovery by gripping at low intensity?
I would rather have a full rest. That's super important. Active rest is fun. Like if I'll do an active rest every now and again just because I feel like, I need to do something. I need to get up and move around, do some type of anything. Being in the gym is the place I like to be most. So instead of going out for a walk, just, do something. I'll go in the gym and do something light every now and again. That's nice to do. But I'm not going to do anything that's going to affect me the next day for my training. But for the most part, full on rest is the most important, even though it's boring.
Do you get any like full rest days during your week? I remember you told me you do like the cycle of your routine, but I wasn't sure if you train every day of the week.
No, I usually take Sundays to relax. And my Wednesday has now become an active rest because I'm just starting to get worn out now. I haven't been getting the best sleep lately because we're preparing, because I'm going to be a dad here in just a few weeks. So I've been preparing.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Whoa. It's I know I'm not a dad yet. I just got married, but I know it's a lot
No.
of work for the whole family.
Yeah.
So congratulations, really good news, man.
Thank you.
There's another question from Lucas. He wants to know if you do any hand stretching.
No, I don't. If I do stretch my hands, it's because they're really sore and I overtrained them. But if not, then no, I'm not stretching my hands.
And is there any like special treatment that you do for your hands, meaning thumb training or something like not inch dumbbell or block related to prepare your hands, like a prehab?
So mine is very different. Instead of warming up something, like doing just thumbs or isolating stuff, I'm a firm believer in CBD rubs. So I will rub CBD on my hands and let it sit for about 30 minutes before. And I've noticed that I can train a lot harder when I do that. I feel like my joints are primed up. They're not going to be tight. And I have actually seen a lot of benefits with CBD rubs on my hands. So that's something I've really started getting into.
I've never heard that before. It's like really interesting.
Yeah. I for a while I didn't believe in CBD rubs. I thought, it's just some gimmick, blah blah blah. And then I was at my mom's house and I had horribly dry hands. I let my calluses get out of control from grip. So I was like, I need some lotion or something. I need to, moisturize my hands. And she gave me this lotion. I used it. And I noticed like my hands felt different. Like when I opened my hands and open and close my hands, they just felt better. And I looked at that lotion, it had CBD in it. And I was like, interesting. So I got my own CBD ointment and it works. I love the stuff. So, yeah.
Perfect. And the last question from Lucas, he wants to know if you have any recovery tips.
Sleep. Most important part. Just make sure you get good sleep. That's
As,
where all the gains. The kitchen and the bed.
As many hours as you can possibly sleep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You got some time to take a nap, do it. That won't hurt you. That's only going to help you. I'm a firm believer in sleep.
Perfect. And oh, the last question was actually, can you share your full warm-up?
My full warm-up.
Or how do you warm up for, I don't know, inch dumbbell or grippers? Because sometimes hands can be like tough to warm up, in my opinion, with the cracks and little pain.
For the inch dumbbell, I don't warm up. I just pick it up and then it starts feeling easier and easier once, I've done a few reps. But for grippers, I will do like a 10 rep set with my lightest gripper and work my way up. And then once I start feeling like it's starting to get hard around rep 8, I drop down to triples. So I only do 3 reps. And then when I'm ready to start training for a 1 rep max parallel set, then I'll just drop it down to singles. So for grippers, yeah, I'll warm up. But for everything else, it's just like if it's an axle, I'll start with a lightweight and then keep adding weight until I'm ready. That's about it. I've never really focused too much on warming up.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, now we have like a kind of miscellaneous questions that I came into, because I have many. When I see your videos, there are many questions. It's like, wow. In example, you have like, I know you are a big Dragon Ball fan. You have like on your ceiling a Goku banner. It's really cool. I was like, oh, that's Goku. I can recognize it. And I was like, wow, it's really, well, we spoke about that before.
Yeah.
You are like a big fan of the Dragon Ball. Are you still like rewatching it these days?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. On my lunch breaks, I've actually started the Buu Saga because my animation in Buu Saga is my favorite. So I love rewatching that whole series because it just the details, attention to details they have, like with the anatomy and everything. It's fascinating. I love that art style. So, and personally, I think the storylines better too. So yeah,
it's really good. And I wanted to know, Ben, do you have any hobby that has nothing to do with working out? Maybe something art related?
Yeah, I do. I used to be really big into painting and drawing, and I even did tattooing for like 7 years. It was a pretty good stretch, and then I just strayed away from that. And now every now and again, if I have an idea I like, I'll just get out a pen and paper and sketch it. And like the crusher drawing I did with the hand all contorted, I was on my lunch break and bored, and I thought of that idea. I was like, oh, that's cool. So I just sketched it up, took like 5 minutes, and posted about it. I thought it looked pretty cool. So yeah.
It's really beautiful. Was it like the original sketch was on paper or maybe on your iPad? How did you do it?
It was on a piece of scratch paper. It was on something I was going to throw away, and I was like, there's a little room here to draw on something, so I just drew on the scratch paper.
Perfect. And then, have you ever thought of traveling outside of the US because of Gripsport, maybe to Finland or Sweden or any country to compete?
No, I have not thought about doing that. But it sounds interesting. It'd be cool. I don't have a passport. I need to get on that for sure. I'd like to at least go to Canada and do some stuff with Eric Gruson. I think that'd be cool. But I did when I was in the strongman. I really wanted to go and train on stones. Like I wanted to lift the Husafel stone really bad. I still want to. I think it'd be cool.
Actually, that was my very next question without thinking about it. If you have, I wanted to know if you had tried stone lifting, like
Oh,
natural stones from the floor or something.
I had. Are you familiar with Mike Bartos?
No, I don't
He's
know him. I will have to Google
he
it.
makes a lot of really good strongman equipment, and he made a plate loadable Atlas stone, and I had that for a long time. There's a bolt in the top, and you take the bolt out, and the stone breaks into two pieces, and it has a loading pin in the middle, and you can load that up and train stones. I'd train stone over or stone to shoulder, stone over bar. Do walks with my stone, and I was obsessed with that thing. Like that was my go-to thing to train for when I was in strongman, and probably has a lot to do with my back being so healthy for the inch clean because there's a lot of back involved with that lift.
Maybe that's another like hidden gem for the people who want to
Yeah,
clean the inch, get into stone lifting and lift heavy stones in a healthy way, of course. And maybe
absolutely.
you will get
A
it.
lot of a lot of wrists, forearm trying to get around that ball. A lot of lat activation because your back's spread and you're pulling from a deficit. So it's it's a super tough lift. It's still one of my favorites. I don't have the stone anymore, but I I think down the road I'll end up probably getting something similar.
And what about Dini lift? Have you ever thought about lifting the Dini stones?
I would love to lift the Denny Stones. That'd be cool. And I'm pretty sure I could do it too. I had some loading pins, I have some Denny rings, and I've loaded the weights, the loading pins accurately to the same weight of each stone. And I've done like 10-second holds with that. So I'm pretty sure I could do the actual thing.
And have you heard about the nickel stones?
I've heard of them, but I can't remember any information on them. What are those?
I mean, Brett Nickel has like many pairs of stones. He has a pair called the walking nickel stones. They are like
Yes.
250 kilograms together, but the pair that I am referring to, it's a pair that adds. I mean, I think one of the sides it's 202 kilograms, and the other side it's like 160. So it's
Oh wow.
heavier than the Dinis.
Yeah, that's an awkward walk.
And I
Plus, you
mean
got
that that's not like for walking, but it's like for lifting. So I
oh,
think it's like the next level after the Dinis because they are
wow.
like 250 people to this day that has lifted the Dinis, and but just 50 people that have lifted these nickel stones that I am talking about, talking to you.
Wow.
So
That's crazy.
that's the next challenge. I would love to go
Yes,
to Scotland to lift them as well.
definitely.
Yes, and Ben, the last words of the interview belong to you. Tell me, Ben, which message would you like to share with the Gripsport Latino audience, with the community?
I think y'all just need to keep doing what you're doing. Everybody's real supportive. They're always wanting everybody to grow. I'd like for everybody to keep doing that. That's what got me hooked to this sport, and it's going to continue to bring more people to it. The stronger people get, the more supportive people get, the more popular the sport's going to get. So I feel like the community's doing all the good stuff, all the right stuff, and keep doing it. Keep training hard, take it serious, and have a good time. So that's what I'd like to share with everybody.
Excellent, Ben. Well, I'd like to thank you for your time. It was a really nice interview. I really enjoyed talking to you, and I wish you the best for Heavy Hands on September.
Thank you
It's
very
going to
much. I
be
look forward to seeing you at Heavy Hands next year.
I hope so. I hope so. Well, this year we got married, so I think we are having a honeymoon on Mexico. So next year's
Nice.
trips are going to be planned. We will see. It could be the US again because we went last year, or it could be, I don't know, maybe the Disney Stones. I hope so.
Okay.
so so it's going to be sports related, and well, I wish you the best with your training, and congratulations on the family growing. Best wishes for your new baby as well.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Okay, Ben, so have a nice day, and we will see each other again. Bye, my
Sounds
friend.
good. Take care. See ya.